Bloodwolf Arts Studio. Unleash the artist within.
Welcome to Bloodwolf Arts Studio, and I'm your host, Mr. Moonlight. So today, I am reading the next poem in my series of my collection of poetry, The Seasons of Life, Volume 1, Autumn, a poem titled The Stalking Beast. And this one was written on September 7th, 2011. It was about 3 or 4 weeks after the last one I wrote. And I decided for this one, just to be safe, just because of the content that I'm putting a trigger warning, because this one is talking about sexual content um, that I potentially may talk about sexual abuse content, but um, so this one is one that captures a lot of my struggles with just sexuality in general. Um, my last poem was a particular experience in itself, but this one was just focused on the struggle I faced with my own sexuality and feeling like that I had no power over it, and I was constantly relying on God to save me from this addiction because at this point it had, because it had turned into a pornography addiction, and at this time, then it had been going on for like 7 years, and it was just a full-on pornographic addiction. Um, and I struggled with masturbating regularly. Um, and then it was just a cycle of shame. There's something wrong with me because I'm expressing sexuality, and it was pornography and masturbation. And because in the culture I grew up in, then masturbation is just wrong. It's shameful, it's dirty, it's filthy. And anybody who's grown up with any kind of religious, super conservative background or community can relate to that a lot. Um, but I was essentially just wrapped up in this cycle of shame and guilt and just never ending highs and lows. And I would pray to God regularly to forgive me, and then I would break. And at this point, I was pretty cemented in where I'm just like, okay, this is just my life. I'm just a failure. I suck. Um, there's something wrong with me. I can't control myself. And then I just had nowhere to express this energy. I had no one that I could talk to about it because it's such a taboo topic, and the culture it's just all surrounded with shame, and there's not really a way to explore it in any real way, shape, or form. And so this poem just is a really a story and narrative that captures my experience that was regular. It was like, okay, I got it under control, and then no, I don't. Now, yes, I do. Now, I don't. And it just a cycle, just a vicious cycle of shame and guilt. And okay, I finally got this out of control. Finally got it handled, and then feeling hopeful, and then being dashed. And I have that represented in different ways throughout the poem. You can see it, but I refer to the addiction of just sexuality in general as a beast. And in this poem, and then in future poems, I think I don't know if don't remember if there's too many that talk about this topic in this way specifically, but usually when I'm talking about a beast in my poem, it's referring to sexuality, sex in general. Um, and I know there's at least one other, and I think that one's in my third book. It's not published yet, but when I'm referring to a beast, that's what it's referring to. And in my poem, I also use the word phone, like a telephone, but um, and I just thought I'd clarify that one right away because to me that was essentially prayer. That was like a stand-in for the word prayer, just a lot of symbology, a lot of symbolism. Um, and that was something I intentionally did because with this being such a shameful topic, whenever I grew up, then I had a lot of fears that somebody would eventually one day read this book. Because I feel like at some level I thought about publishing it. I mean, I was 19 at the time when I started putting this all together. And part of me wanted to share this with the world at some point, but I didn't end up sharing it for another 17, I see, from the time this was written. It's about 15 years, man. Yeah. And I went to get this published many times, but I always hit up against this same wall of um, I don't want anybody to see this. And so it's like, even though I was not showing this to anybody, I intentionally kept everything very cryptic, used a lot of symbology for that reason. Um, and in this case, it's super relevant because it's um, covering up the feelings of shame around the topic. I have to keep it hidden, like people can't see this, people can't know. And I had a paranoid fear that somebody was going to read my poetry and someone was going to see me and someone was going to find me out. And that was something that was very familiar to me that I lived growing up with was um, especially in a closed society, was someone's going to find me. I'm going to be found out. My life's going to be over. And so that's just a lot to say. There's a lot of symbolism in this. But so this one's called The Stalking Beast because I really did feel like I was being stalked by this beast called sexuality. And it never seemed to be able to leave me alone. And for whatever reason, I could never seem to ever be free of it or the addictions that I was 7 years deep into at this point. Um, so that's my poem. Um, it'll be after this video here. Stay tuned. Remember to like this video, follow me on Facebook and my YouTube channel, Blood Wolf Art Studio. My handle across all my platforms is Mr. Moonlight Rhyme. Um, unless I can get something fixed, then I'm not going to be posting any more of these on TikTok. It's not letting me post content anymore. Um, it's giving me certain issues, and I haven't figured out why. Because I see other content creators posting content very similar, but it's letting them and not me. So I don't know why. But it'll be here on YouTube, this platform, just this one for now. Post on Facebook, so follow me there. Follow me here. I'm going to have the link to my books down in the description below. So if you want to get a copy of those, feel free. Um, so yeah, go ahead and check that out. It'll be posted right after this, or it'll just fade into this. Anyways, whatever. I'm rambling. Um, so thank you for tuning in, and welcome to my side of the moon.
The Stalking Beast by Aaron Brown. As I lay awake in bed, I begin to hear a growl. I tremble and shake. Oh no, I think. The monster's on the prowl. It follows me both night and day and makes my hair turn white. Sniffing, growling, howling, moaning, sucking out my light. I once faced this monster. I had made the battle square. Host of angels by my side. The monster was aware. It stood real tall, black it was, dark as death's own mire. But it never really was a match, that old beast desire. Coming from man's deepest lair, the beast it never rests. Scratching, clawing, biting. It can't beat me at my best. Tricky though this monster was. It has a cunning mind, waiting, patiently waiting, until I am reclined. Thinking, ha, I scared that beast. He's forever gone. Never knowing, ignorant, no doubt, it was no longer dawn. Sunset now here, my mind relaxed, thinking no more of that beast. Believing he was truly gone was truth at the very least. The sky now dark, God's host departed, and with them my light too. The beast now knows I'm all alone. He wants me ripped in two. With the beast gone, or so I thought, my friends are all at home. The beast knows I'm alone in bed, and that I lost my phone. Suddenly, I'm dragged off of my bed. My heart, it almost stopped. Screaming, help! I start to bleed. My spirit has been dropped. As we near ever so closer to desire's lair, I smell the stench of many souls floating through the air. I see bones scattered throughout his lair. I begin to sorely weep, thinking, this is the end. He closer to me creeps. Then as soon as he's upon me, right in his evil hands, I found my phone. I feel much hope. I call upon my friends. I soon am not all alone as they hammer that old beast, throwing him back down his hole. I'm grateful, to say the least. I learned a lesson this very night. Never lose your phone. It's the sure and truest way to never be alone.